I would love to. I really would. I don't know if I will, or I mean, I want to, but there's a lot of things that I guess you can't. I don't know if I should really talk about yet, and just kind of have to wait and see what happens as far as that. Yes. Oh, okay. And again, you are like the question stealer. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go. No.
It's okay, it's okay.
The Doctor Who.
Yes.
I was just curious for like Isai, since he's like really kind of a complete sociopath, how do you approach that?
Well, I am one. I went into the audition and they played me the clip and I was like, I like this guy. Okay, he's weird and creepy, intelligent, I guess, and likes to play people, and that's just kind of how I played it, like Yojimbo. Have you guys seen Yojimbo?
Yeah.
Okay, just you. All right, so you got me there. So anyways, I just kind of played it how I thought it should be played. Yes.
Okay. Given your extensive.
I'm sorry. Can you hang on a second? I got a question over here. I'll just go for it. I couldn't help it. I had to do that.
I understand. Given your extensive voice acting background, how did you start, and what are your tips on new people that want to get into business?
Well, I got into it, so it was such a fluke. I did this this independent film, action film, called Extreme Heist. Wiki Game, I think, oversees Extreme Heist here. Super low budget, like they shot on video or whatever, but it was like all action. And the camera, the crew was actually the Japanese stunt team from Power Rangers. And so they had, their camera was in Japanese, and so but the guys that were doing sound were not Japanese, and so they couldn't read Japanese. So when they were trying to get the sound out, they didn't do whatever buttons, or didn't push the buttons right. And so the sound was all screwed up. And so I had to go in there and redub my voice, and I was playing the hero. And as I was doing that, the producer was there, and he punched in, and he's like, "You got a good hero voice." I was like, "Okay, cool," because I'm playing the hero, so that works. And so he did that a couple times, and afterwards he was like, I want you to come in and audition for this animation stuff that I'm doing. I was like, "Yeah, sure." This was after Power Rangers, and I needed a job, so I was like, yes. So I went in and auditioned, and they showed me, basically they showed me, it was an anime, and they showed me an English dub of it first. And then they played the Japanese, and he said, "Could you do something more like the Japanese?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, definitely." Which I wasn't really sure, I just said that. And so I did it, and then 2 weeks later I got the part for Vash and Trigon.
Oh, sweet!
And so I think it was a scratch track. It wasn't actual, like somebody else dubbed it. It was like just a scratch. So anyways, yeah, so that was my first thing. So if I was going to give somebody advice, it's kind of weird coming from me. Because it's like, well, go to this independent film. Make sure the Japanese camera doesn't work with the American sound guys. And, and the producer has to be doing anime. And make sure you sound like a hero. No, but seriously, if I was gonna like tell somebody or give some advice, I would say, obviously you have to have a clear voice. You can't have like a speech impediment or anything, and you have to be able to act. It's voice acting, so you need a voice. You need acting, and what I think a lot of people overlook, especially when I read forums or whatever, and I don't read them all the time, but. Like, a lot of times actors get ripped for doing something a certain way, and then they say, they did good at this, but why are they suck in this one? We're kind of just puppets a lot of times, like the director and producers will tell us how they want it, So we kind of give our input. This is kind of how we'd want to play it, but sometimes the director's like, no, not like that. So you have to be able to take direction. If you don't take direction, you don't work, So you have to be able to take direction, and I would say, probably put together a demo. Maybe, I don't know if a minute is too long, it might be, but about 45 seconds to a minute long of just different kind of, I would say, emotions. Don't do anything like Homer Simpson, you just do your own characters or your own voice. They just really, I think, really just want to hear what your voice sounds like, and if you can act, if there's enough range throughout the demo. And then I would take that and send it out to whoever does anything, dubbing-wise. And if you want to get into anime, you kind of really have to live where they do that stuff. But I would say don't try to get into anime specifically because it doesn't pay a lot. You know, I mean, it pays a lot more than, you know, McDonald's. If you're working there every day, you know. Otherwise, McDonald's would be better. So yeah, I guess that would be kind of my long answer to that. Okay, you got my attention.
That wasn't a threat, I promise. But
I will throw this hat at you.
no, it's like, you know, you said the first role was Vash, but then one of the more recent ones is somebody like Bleach, who is very much the opposite of Love and Peace, at least to outsiders anyway. How did you kind of how did you approach Vash versus how you approach Bleach?
Well, Vash, I had no idea what I was doing.
Okay.
They just played me some stuff, and he's like, whatever, and just kind of wild and off the wall. And I was like, I guess I'm just gonna do that, because I wasn't a voice actor. I mean, I did some ADR on Power Rangers, but you know, nothing really. I just had really good. The scripts were pretty good, and I had a great director. So I had a lot of help as far as like how I should play Vash, you know. With Lelouch, it was. I mean, I try to look at, if I get a role, I try to like research it basically and try to catch some stuff online or something. And I tried to watch it on YouTube, but they didn't have anything up. They didn't have the Japanese sub. They had like Spanish subtitles. And I was like, dang it, man. I was like, I took 3 years, come on. I watched it, I'm like, I have no idea what they're saying. But I got the feel of it all, you know, and I thought it was really interesting because you're following him as the protagonist, but he's the antagonist, you know, which was a really cool way of, I think, telling stories. And so I just kind of played it again, just kind of how I thought it should be played. I did have some struggles though, because, for example, I mean, if you guys know the show Zero, when he's in Zero mode, he's so over the top, and if I were to play someone who's a bad guy, I wouldn't personally be over the top, you know, like I would picture him saying, "I'm going to kill you," you know, or whatever, right? Whereas that's like, just tell everybody then, you know. But then like I would be like, hey, come here. I want to show you something. Which that's, I guess, maybe how I would do it. But that's like real life. Anyways, that was dumb. But yeah, so I just kind of like, I had some struggles there with like being and they were like melodramatic, and they kept saying like Phantom of the Opera. I was like, okay, that's weird, but yeah, all right. And so I just kind of played it where I thought was right, and was guided one way or the other. But it was fun. It was really good, and I really got into it. Who hasn't seen it?
Seen what?
Code Geass. Right? Have you even been paying attention?
Entranced by your eyes.
Can you see my eyes from there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way back at Isaiah. Well, like, I went back and watched what I did before, you know, and just so I could find out where my voice was. And I was like, holy crap, that's pretty high. And I was like, dang. And I was like, okay, well, where does this take place in the story, you know? And I'm like, well, Wolfwood's there, you know? And so I kind of was able to pinpoint around where it was supposed to be in the story. And so I just played it in that same place, even though it felt weird for me. And there were a lot, like even when watching the original stuff that I'd done, there were quite a few times where I was like, man, I should have done it this way, or man, I should have done that, you know. But it was still fun. I mean, again, the movie just looked amazing. You know, I got to watch the movie first, and then I went back and looked at the stuff, and I was like, oh wow, I thought it looked so much cooler. You know, in my mind, it was so much, like the animation was so much better. Not that it was bad. At the time, it was great. But when you compare it to the movie is like really nice. So yeah, it was a little weird, I guess. But it was fun. Yeah, way back in the back, you've had your hand up for a while. few people have told me that, and there's a director, producer that was trying to get it and have me play that character. And I would have loved to, actually. When I saw some of it, you know, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw a little bit of it. And I was like, wow, it would have been fun. I would have had a lot of fun. I didn't see much of the dub, though, so I can't really say one way or the other. Yes?
I was wondering, how did you do the distortion for Hollow Ichigo's voice?
Hollow Ichigo? Well, Hollow Ichigo, I didn't even know I was going to do Hollow Ichigo. Whenever it came time to do Hollow Ichigo, I knew that there was Hollow Ichigo, but I just assumed that they were probably going to get somebody else or whatever. And they're like, "Oh no, you're doing that character too." And I was like, "Oh, okay." When I watched it, the Japanese version, he basically used the same voice except for when he's like laughing, you know, or there's like some things that you can tell, okay, he's a little different. So I wanted to make it a little more obvious, and so I pitched him up a little bit, and then they used the same filter. There's like a flanger filter. I don't know if you know, like it's like whatever that goes over the voice, just like in the Japanese. I can give you an example, although I shouldn't because I have to sing later. So if I don't get through the whole set, it's your fault. So regular Ichigo is basically my natural range, right? If I'm talking like this, but where you really kind of I think can tell is more in the fight. Like regular Ichigo is like all in that kind of like gravelly kind of like it's just like not well trained. Later on in the season, you know, episode 60-ish, he's more like that kind of like sharper tones. And then obviously the new season after that, he was dumb again, couldn't figure out how to do it. So I was like, that's how to do it. Anyway, so Hollow Ichigo is like, who am I? It's all high range, you know, like.
Yeah!
Oh, man, you guys just have questions.
You're the hero.
All right, you're waving. Yes. I'm going to go to somebody. Oh, never mind.
I always wondered, did you sing the genocide song?
Yeah, I did. I won't do it now. What was that? Sounds different? Well, I mean, yeah, I guess, maybe, I don't know. Actually, I thought it sounded just like me. But maybe, yeah, I mean, maybe because he's singing, it sounds a little bit differently, yeah. Total slaughter. That's all I know. All right. Yes.
My friend can't talk right now, so she wants you to do the whole love and peace line from Dragon.
Okay.
Your favorite line.
This world is made of love and peace. Love and peace, love and peace. I'm going to tell you a story because I'm getting bored. I'll tell you guys a story.
Yay.
I'm going to turn it up a little bit.
Oh.
Does that do anything? All right, story time. Johnny Yong Bosch. True stories.
Hell yeah.
So how many of you guys have ever given a homeless person money?
Oh God, wow.
No.
Have you guys heard this story?
No.
Maybe, okay. I've got a bunch of stories where I've interacted with homeless people. And this is one of them. This is a totally true story. And you may have heard it, so don't ruin it. All right. So anyways, whenever I leave from work, right, I take the freeway, and then you know how, like, when you exit the freeway, there's that, you know, if there's an overpass, you exit the freeway, there's a light there, and then you'd have to go under the overpass, whatever, right? So that's usually how it is. So I exit the freeway, and there's this long off-ramp, and there's usually light there. And there's always like a homeless person right there on the corner, you know, of the light, you know, and they've got the sign that's like, God bless you, or whatever, give me some money. And it's always a dude there, you know, some guy standing there with the sign, and he's not really friendly looking. But I usually just ignore him because I'm in my car, you know, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like, stop and give you money? That's weird. And so anyways, I usually just kind of ignore the person there, fake like my radio's up, singing. And so this one day I get there, I take the off-ramp, and there's like 4 or 5 cars in front of me. It's a red light, so I'm stopped. And I'm munching on these carrots that are in the Ziploc bag of mine that I had left over from lunch. And behind me pulls this big monster truck, like, right? And it's got tinted windows, so I can't see the person in there. But I just feel like, as soon as that light changes green, I better get out of here because he's going to kill me. Because I don't know, they could be angry. Like, you know, you can't, it's like a cop. You can't see their eyes, and you just think they're like, ugh, you know? And so that's what I was feeling. I was feeling the pressure, and so I was like eating my carrots pretty fast. So I was kind of scared. And I look over, and I see a homeless woman over there, you know, not just some homeless man. I saw a homeless woman, and I'm from the South, and so my heart kind of went out to her, and I was like, ah, man, I should give her something, you know? And I'm stopped, whatever, right? And so I finished my carrots. In LA, you have to pay for parking basically anywhere downtown, you know? And so I had like 2 cup holders, you know, and they're full of quarters. And so I just grabbed all these quarters. I'm like, she could use them. I don't need them. I can get more. And so I just put them all in there. It's like maybe 2 pounds worth of quarters in this Ziploc bag. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm doing a good thing. And I roll down the window. She sees me. She puts a sign down, and she's just standing there. She goes, like that. And I'm like, okay, cool. And so I roll down the window, and I put my hand out like this, and then the light changes green, and these 4 cars are, boom, they just take off. I'm like, oh, crap. And so I'm like, cool, I better go. This guy's going to run me over. So I start going. And then I'm approaching her fairly fast. And I'm like thinking, wait a second. I'm going like 20 or 30 miles an hour. How is this exchange going to happen? She's just some homeless woman. She's not a football player. I just hand it off to her. Like, how does this work? You know, and I'm thinking in my mind, and it's only a split second, but I'm starting to panic. And, you know, your mind just starts racing. And I'm like, what if she pulls me out of the car? You know, I die. What if I hold on to her too long and pull her under the monster truck, you know? And so I'm freaking out. And I'm like, focus, Johnny, focus. And I'm like, you're martial artist. Come on, just think. And I'm like, oh, wait, I got it. Just time it out. All I have to do is flick like this. I just, you know, at 30 miles an hour, just go like that much, you know, that would just gracefully land in her hand. I'm thinking, all right, 2 pounds worth of quarters, here I go. Let's just go, it's so fast. Now, I go, and I watch. She's standing there. I watch as this 2-pound bag of quarters leaves my hand, 20 or 30 miles an hour, and smacks her in the face. 2 pounds worth, like, no joke, I'm not lying. 2 pounds worth, smacks her in the face. Everything does go slower when there's like something traumatic that happens. It breaks open, her face does the right? Like full on, like, quarters everywhere. And I'm just, and she's like sinking away, like she must have thought I was like, die! You know, and so I was like, oh, I can't stop. The guy's right behind me. It's green, and I want to at least make the light. And so I just kept going, and I turned, and I'm like, why? I'm trying to do such a good thing, you know? And it ended up like, thanks, God. So look at it. And so I felt like a total douchebag. It's a true story. And so there's a lesson in that, and it's don't give money to homeless people while driving. All right? It's a true story.
I love that.
Don't take money from Johnny. Yes. Because I will throw it at your face. As hard as I can. I will try to kill you. I've actually, true story, after I did that, and I take that freeway exit all the time, I've never seen a homeless person there again. I think that they like talk, you know? They're like, hey, don't go over there. What happened to Susie? She's dead. So, anyways, it's a true story. I felt so bad. I was like, man, did she die? I hit her so hard. I got another the guy in the monster truck was probably like, what a douche. All right, question, way back in the back.
What?
You know what? It's,
I didn't know Bandai went under.
Is that thing beeping?
It's
a bomb. Oh God.
Don't go to it. Having fun.
Oh,
So I don't know. Okay, so Bandai, yeah, they're gone. So I just kind of what it is what it is. What can I do about it? You know? Yeah, I'm gonna go. Hey, open your doors back up, Bandai.
Bandai.
I'm gonna buy Bandai. Yeah, right. Yeah, you know, I mean, it's just gonna go to maybe somebody else, you know, and obviously somebody else is gonna license their stuff. I think, you know, they're just not. It's just the way things are, you know. It's unfortunate, but I mean, how many of you guys have actually stole a show or a song or something from online? Yeah, it's so easy. How can you stop that, you know? You can't stop that. And, you know, like you could probably try to guilt people into it or talk to them and say, oh, Bandai's gone now, you know, see what happened. But it's just what it is, you know? I just go, okay, oh well, I guess I'll just sing. I'll tell homeless stories. That's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I have another homeless story if you want to hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys want to hear another one?
Oh, yeah.
Is it a 3-pound bag this time?
No more bags. No more bags. All right, this one's maybe not. I should have waited. The other one. This one's not as cool. All right, so anyways, you guys remember when they came out with those gold Sacagawean?
Oh yeah.
Those things are like
cool.
new. It's like to me, I thought it was a big thing, you know, because like I kept seeing it everywhere on the news and they're all talking about it, the gold dollar or whatever, right? They're bringing it back or something. And so I remember I had gone somewhere and I had one in my pocket, you know, and it was about lunchtime, and so I was hungry, and so it just turned itself back on. And so I'm like, I went to this parking lot, and there's a Subway. I'm walking across this parking lot, and I'm going to Subway, and this guy comes up to me, and he's like limping. He's like, oh, like this. Like he does this with his face, like that's gonna make him look really skinny or something, like he hasn't eaten. Like that, and I'm like, oh man, that's weird. And then he's like, oh, yeah. It doesn't even really say anything, you know? And I'm like, but I know that he's homeless, he smells a little bit, you know? And he's like doing this, you know? And so he looks like he's asking for money. I'm like, oh man, I don't know. I'll give you something. And I reach in my pocket, I'm like, oh crap. I got that gold dollar. It's the only one I have. I just got it. It's brand new. I don't know if I'm going to get another one. And I start to freak out a little bit. I'm like, you know what? He could use it, you know? I mean, whatever, it's $1, right? So I pull it out. I kind of make a big deal about it. I'm like, hey, this is that new gold. And he just takes it, right? And he just takes it. I'm like, that's the Indian lady. So that new gold. All right, man. Hey. And I walk away. I'm a little sad because I don't have my gold dollar. And so I go to the Subway. And it's got glass windows if you've ever been to a Subway. And I'm in there, I'm ordering my sandwich or whatever, and I turn around and I look, because I'm thinking, maybe he dropped the dollar and I can find it. So I look back to see what's going on, and I see, like, he's just asked somebody else for some money. And once the person has given him money, like, and walks away, then he stands straight up, starts walking, like all normal. And he gets into this car, the driver's side of the car, and sits down. And out of the back of the car, somebody else gets up, shuts the door, and starts walking, and starts doing the limp thing. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, and I can see that there were like 4 guys in the car, you know? And so I'm like, I was like, just put some lettuce on it, whatever here. And I just like gave them money, and I didn't really care. I was just like, just give me the sandwich. And so I went back outside, and I was like furious. I didn't know what to do. I was like, should I say something? I don't know what to, and I'm like, I'm going to do it. It's the gold dollar. And so I went to the car, you know, and I walked up the side of it, and his window was open. And this is when I really could see there's 2 other guys in it. And then as I approach his car like this, you know, I see the other guy, like, stops asking for money and just comes beelining straight. And I'm like, man, this is going to be a fight here with 4 guys. And I leaned down into the car, and I was like, dude, give me the dollar back. And I'm like, give me my dollar back. And he's like, oh, oh, and I was like, dude, what is this? Is this what, some kind of operation? How much money are you getting out of people? And I'm like, give me my dollar back, man. This is ridiculous. And then he's like, oh, and he just like starts patting his like pants. He doesn't even like dig his hand into the pocket. He's just like, oh no. I'm like, what do you mean no? You're not even looking. You know? Like, oh. And he opens his ashtray and there's like a ton of change in there, you know, and he starts patting the top of it like. It's not even like digging through looking for my dollar, you know? I'm like, no, I was like, dude, it's the gold one. You don't have any other gold ones. It's the gold one I just gave you. It's like 2 minutes ago. And then he's like, oh, no, and he taps the change again. And then when he tapped the change again, I was like, this is ridiculous. You're not even looking, you know? So I like reached into his car, into the ashtray, and grabbed as much change as I could. I pulled it out, and I kicked his door. I was like, boom. I was like, get the hell out of here, or call somebody. And then he's like, just drive away. It's like, ah. I like made a lot of money actually. It's like 12 bucks. But I didn't get the gold coin back. Yeah, so you gotta be careful. And there's some fakies out there. I don't think fakies is a word, but it is now. I like it. Yes.
I had a question. Do you have like any interesting stories about like when you were on the set of
Any
PR?
Asian stories?
No,
Asian stories? Is that what you said?
Interesting.
Interesting. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Like on the set, like anything that we may not have heard of from Power Rangers, like personal stories, like with you and the actors, you know, like anything like goof ups, you know.
Oh, you want to hear some gossip?
Especially about you and the frog.
All right, I'll tell you a story. Let's see. Well, Jason was here, what, last year? Year before?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
See, he likes to tell this story. And part of it's true.
Uh-oh.
But, okay, so, we're in Australia, we're shooting a movie. And Jason and I, we would just go train a lot, just go do some flips or martial arts or whatever on the beach or at a park. And this was, I can't remember where we were shooting, but we were supposed to shoot pretty soon. You know, we were kind of in wardrobe. We hadn't got makeup on. And so we're doing, you know, tree flips. And there's this palm tree there, and it's got like, you know how it's got like those little things in it. It looks kind of like steps. And so my technique of like flipping off of it was like, I would jump, you know, and I would just bounce off of it. So it'd be like, you know, that's how I did it. And then Jason's technique of flipping would be running. He would run up it like ba-da-ba-ba-da and just go over. He takes like 3 steps and then flips over. And then for whatever reason, you know, and I was spotting him, he was spotting me. And so for whatever reason, he's like, you know, he's over there and he's already running. He's like, I'm gonna take a bunch of steps. You know, I'm like, what? And because he thought he could just keep going or something. And so he just starts running up there, you know, and look at me, I'm half Asian. Come on, I can't reach that. I don't play basketball. So I'm like this, you know, like, and this is as far, like, I can't even touch him. Like, he's already gone past this point, right? I'm like, dude. And then I see him go up, runs up, and he flips, and he's like this. You know? And he's kind of like, he's not coming to where my hand would be, he's coming more at me. So I did what anyone would do. Went like this. And he said it was my fault that he got like a scratch on his eye. And but it wasn't totally my fault, because he did way too many steps. I mean, anyways, that's one story.
Thank you.
And there's another one where he sat on Steve's face. We won't tell that one. We'll save that one for maybe tomorrow. All right, I'll tell you another one. So, Jason and I, yeah, we're in the van and they're driving us to set, and I was a lot younger then and stupider. And and we're in the van, and this lady's driving. She's driving fairly fast through the desert. And in my head, I'm like, oh, it'd be so cool if I climbed out the window, went onto the roof, you know, and I climbed into the other window. And then I said that out loud, you know. And then Jason was like, you won't do it. I was like, I'll do it. He's like, the chicken. Like, I'm not. I rolled down the window, and I climbed out the window, and I got up on the roof, you know, and then as I'm like this on the roof, all of a sudden the car's like going, I'm like, she's trying to throw me off the car. Who is this crazy lady, you know? And I'm like swearing, my legs are like flying back and forth, and I look, and I see Jason's reached over. Jason's trying to kill me, you know? I'm like, dude, and I can see her like smacking him or whatever. Finally, it like starts to straighten out, you know. I'm like, all right, sweet, but she's still going like 50 miles an hour. And so I'm like about to get over it and then climb in the window, and he's just finished rolling it up. And he's like, dude, open the door. And then he reaches in front again and starts to swerve again. I'm like, yeah. Then he rolled it down and let me in. So he's a jerk. He's a jerk.
Get him back?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of back and forth that happens.
What was like your ultimate like?
Don't worry about it. Save those stories. I like to make it look like he's always messing up, doing things bad. I don't usually do a lot of bad things. But I may say something like, "Hey, what if you did that?" and then see if he would do it and get in trouble, which he always would. Anyways, okay, you got questions. Yes. All right, and gray sweatshirt, gray hat.
You've done a lot of roles. Like, what's your favorite one?
My favorite? One of my favorites would be Nero Devil May Cry 4. And I'll tell you why. I like that, I mean, it was a script. Like, okay, like Ichigo I have a lot of fun doing, but I'm limited to the picture. So if they've already drawn Ichigo screaming or crying, I got to do exactly that, right? Whereas with Nero, it's just a script, so I had the freedom to kind of make up what I wanted to do. Like if I wanted him to scream, cry, or be sad or happy or whatever, I got to make those choices. And the other cool thing was I got to go to Japan and do it, you know? Do all the motion capture stuff. Does Bandai like Power Rangers. But with a bunch of like shiny white balls all over it. I don't know if that's something she would say usually. Maybe me. I don't know. Yes.
All right. So I was wondering about more smaller scale uncredited roles. What really got you into those? Or was it just kind of something that you were really interested in, like the characters caught your attention? Or
Small uncredited roles?
Yeah, like for instance, like the Ace Combat roles and stuff.
I don't know how I got those. I don't even remember. It was just, you know, I worked with, I'm not even sure if it was the producers or the director that maybe just got me in. Because I feel like I don't think I had to audition for that. The director was just like, I got a role for you, you know?
Well, that was what I was wondering. Was it something that you wanted to do, like did it catch your attention, or was it just something more like,
Not usually. I mean, if there's something I wanted to, like, okay, a good example of something I wanted to do was Naruto. This was before it was even out, you know? And I had seen it everywhere, you know, and I was like, it's pretty cool, you know, I want to audition at least for it, you know, and I found out that at the studio they were going to be auditioning. So I was like, dude, I'm going to give them a call and see if I could, you know, get in there. And I called them, and they're like, sure, come on in, and, you know, we'll have you read some stuff. And I went in, and they had all these characters. And there's like, this, you know, everywhere, Naruto, they were all there, you know, all the characters. And there's like a ton of them, you know, so I was like, man, there's so many to choose from. And they're like, just choose, you know, a couple of them or whatever, and then you just go for it. And I took all of them. So I took all of them. I was like, I'll just read for these. And I went in, you know, and I was like, I would do, you know, Naruto, I did Kiba, or whoever, I did everyone. And after each one, they'd be like, oh, that's excellent. Oh, you nailed that one. Oh, that was great, you know? And like, I started feeling really confident. You know, I was like, wow, really? It's like, sweet, you know? I don't even know the studio, but I love it now. And months went by. And then I was like, okay, well, I obviously didn't get the part, or any of the parts. And then that studio then eventually called me up and said, hey, we want you to come in and audition for a show called Bleach. So I went in, you know, obviously you know what happened there. And so I started working at the studio, and then eventually they brought me into Naruto to play some random ninjas that die. You know? I was like, I mean, I'm from every village, leaf, whatever, sand, snow. I was whatever, you know. I mean, I was a ninja somewhere dying, and uncredited, I believe, sometimes. Well, yeah. Well, if it was just miscellaneous, yeah, it wouldn't even matter. So, anyways, I'd gone in, and then finally they gave me the character Genma, you know, and I finally got Genma, and so he's the guy with the thing in his mouth, toothpick or whatever. Who I have no idea what happened to him. And is he still alive? Who knows? I just figure he's dead. So, anyways, so I finally get that character, and then Mary, who's directing, is like, Johnny, why didn't you ever audition for any of these other characters? I was like, I did. Yeah, but yeah. So you know, that's just the way it is. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, way back in the back. I'm not sure if that's a mushroom on your head or what. No, okay. Embarrassing role? Most embarrassing? You guys seen Dokuro-chan? Yes. So, I'm the dude in that. And there's a couple things in there that... Here's... Okay. When I got the part, they brought me into the office, you know, and I was like, oh, this is weird. They're like, so we have this role, we want to talk to you first. I was like, am I in trouble? And so it's like, oh, and they're like, so we want you to play the main character, but there's some things that happen in the show, and we want to make sure that you're okay with doing it. And I was like, well, you're making it sound like it's hentai. Yeah, I don't want to do hentai. And they're like, no, it's not hentai. But there are some questionable things in there. And I was like, well, I mean, you're very vague right now, and I'm scared a little bit. And I'm like, no, it's not that bad. It's just, I just wanted to make sure that you're okay with it. I was like, yeah, if it's not hentai, I'm okay. They're like, okay. And so I go to start dubbing it, and there's like so many things in there that I'm like, okay, I can kind of see that maybe bestiality would be kind of questionable. Not that you actually see anything like that, but there's a story in there there's a picture that from a storybook, and I was like, yeah, okay, I see what that's gross. And I was like, okay, well, it's short-lived, you know, I can get over that. And then there was a moment where he was attacked by an octopus. And then I was like, it happened so fast. And I was like, I looked at Wendy, who was directing, and I'm like, did it... That's supposed to be an octopus, but I thought I saw something else on the tentacle. Just like... I was like, was he just raped? That would be the most awkward thing.
Motion capture for that one?
What was that?
You did the motion capture for that?
I did not do the motion capture for that one. Good one. Props. Kat, you got a question?
I have a question.
Okay.
Bleach has a lot of memorable moments, and now that it's ended, I personally love the anime. So, is there a particular scene that you liked to dub, or did dub, or looking forward to dub?
Well, there's a lot of moments I really enjoyed throughout the series. One of my favorite moments was the meeting of Ichigo and Hollow Ichigo, and that, you know, or even playing Hollow Ichigo the first time was pretty cool. Some of the backstory with Ichigo, like earlier on, he kind of like cries a little bit over his mom, and I really liked doing that stuff, and I thought I was going to see more of that. But yeah, there were a lot of cool moments, you know, throughout the series, you know, and even just the really off-the-wall, goofy stuff he does, makes fun of Rukia's drawings and whatnot. So I'll miss it, yeah, definitely. But I think it should end at some point, you know, unfortunately. You know, I feel like if you let things go too long, and they kind of, yeah, exactly. Yes?
What inspires you to do martial arts and acting?
Acting is fun, and martial arts is fun too.
Do you have any aspirations or people that inspire you?
All right, well, Bruce Lee, definitely. When I was a kid, man, I wanted to be Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan or Yong Bosch or not really Sammo. I wanted to do what he could do, but I didn't want to be Sammo. Billy Chong. These are now guys that you don't know, I'm sure. But so some of those guys like really inspired me to be like an action hero, you know. And as far as like acting, man, to be honest, I didn't take acting serious until like after Power Rangers. So I had no idea what I was doing. I really didn't. It was like, I was like, I wanted to be an action star, so I just thought, oh, I'm just going to do martial arts. And so that's all I thought about was like fighting. And so I just trained, and then when I got on to Power Rangers, everything happened so fast that I was young and I was just stupid. And I had no idea what was going on. It was like as soon as I got there, it was like we were already starting to shoot. We would shoot like 6 days almost, you know? And some of those off days, we would come in and do some ADR. So then once that was, like, towards the end, I started to realize, oh, I need to be thinking about acting, you know? And so I occasionally would do stuff. And then whenever I really started thinking about taking it serious, and drama happened, and I was off the show, and then some other drama in my life happened, and then there's a couple years where I just had nothing, you know? And that's actually when I picked up the guitar and started to teach myself to play and sing for the first time. 5 minutes, cool. And then, that eventually, that's what I got into depression, pretty bad depression. And playing and singing kind of helped me to get out what I couldn't really say, you know? And so emotionally, like I can play a couple chords and just, you'll know what I mean, you'll know what I feel, you know? And so that helped me. And so I thought, man, if I could get a group of guys that kind of feel the same way and start a band, I can kind of do that. And so that's kind of been our goal. And it's been a long journey, too, and we're still going at it. So please check us out, even if it's just for a couple songs. If you don't like us, again, just buy a CD and leave. You don't have to buy a CD. Well,
to throw money in the program.
You know what? All right. Yeah, I'll take £2 worth of quarters. But just don't aim for below the belt. Because I like that area to be okay. And everything else, I've taken hits before. Well, I mean, I do martial arts, so I should be able to take it. But just don't throw it too hard. Don't throw it to where it like breaks on me, like I did to the homeless lady. Unless you're her assassin. You're exacting her vengeance on me. Then I accept it. Yeah, they just told me, thanks. They were like,
oh.
That's what they did. And I was like, what? You guys didn't see all that about. So I got time for one question, I think.
Aww.
So, do you have a good question? Of course you have a good question. Do you want to just hear a story instead?
Yeah.
Both.
Okay. All right, story time. I do have other homeless stories, but maybe we should skip those. What was that? No.
Do you ever play with other voice actors?
What was that?
Competition.
Power Rangers story.
A Power Ranger story?
Yeah.
All right, Power Ranger story. I'll tell you a Power Ranger story. It is Mighty Morphin Bleach thing, so. All right, so don't record. Don't record. Please don't record. No, seriously, come on. Hey, turn it up. You're not turning it off. You just lowered it. You're trying to trick me. So sneaky. All right, whatever. I don't care. It'd be nicer if you didn't, but whatever. It's probably already out there on YouTube. So anyways, all right, so we're all in Australia. And this is like 3 in the morning, and we're shooting command center stuff. And we're all sitting in our chairs, you know, that are our colors, so we knew which one to sit in. Except for Jason, who had already gone off to the bathroom or whatever. And then we had these cots over here off to the side that were also our colors, so we knew which one to sleep in. And Steve was sleeping in one of those cots. And so Jason had come back from the bathroom, and we had like, the first movie we had those muscle suits, you know, kind of like the Batman movie or whatever. And underneath it we had spandex, so it would just slide on and off. And so we were in the spandex with robes on. And so Jason comes back from the bathroom, you know, and those are also our colors. And Jason comes back in his white one, and he's got his robe on. He's like, "Hey, look, guys," and he shows us that he had cut a hole for better poopage or something. I'm not sure. We're like, "Oh, dude, no." And he's like, whatever. And then, so anyways, so he showed us that, and then, and you know, I may have instigated a little bit, and I was like, go sit on Steve's face. And then it's like, "Yeah, you won't do it." He's like, "What? I'll do it." And I was like, and so he went over. Yeah, I'm done. This is the very end. And so he goes over, and Steve is sitting there, or just laying there like this, right? And he squats over him, and he's boom, drops his butt right in his face, and stands up. And Steve is just, and we're like, "What?" And then Jason goes again, and this time he sat down and he goes, "Boop, boop, boop." And again, Steve's just like, sleeping. And so, I gotta end this. So later, you know, in the command center when we got it all together or whatever, Jason was like, "Hey, you guys smell anything?" And Steve's like, "What? What?" And then, "I don't smell anything." He's like, "Are you sure you don't smell anything right here?" Anyways, he had poop on his nose. No, he didn't have poop on his nose. But I'm surprised he did not. And I gotta go. Thanks. I'm sorry to end it on that note, the poop note. But it is what it is. Thank you guys for coming. After our show, if you want pictures or autographs or something, we will probably find a place to be able to do all that if you didn't get a chance.